Alright, y'all. What's up, stream? We are live, back at it again. This is the art stream. We are going to be doing Skarbrand, continuing on with him. We'll be drawing for about an hour here. And yeah, let's get to it. So, we're almost on our hardline layer. Not quite there yet, but we're making some good progress. Skarbrand's pretty complicated, though. Much like the actual Skarbrand. So, still kind of getting set up here a little bit. I'm drawing with a stylus and a tablet. We'll just kind of go ahead and get into this where we left off. Okay. Let's see what we can do here. I actually want to... Here we go. My stream might be a little delayed here. Okay. I'm going to move some things around real quick. Switching from gaming to drawing. There we go. It's a little bit better. Okay. Just reload this a second. What is this, your first time streaming? There we go. Okay, okay. Alright, so I think where we left off is getting up into this. We will go to his armor. I do kind of want to work on his face a little bit today. I know we kind of went to his legs just because that was the easier part to draw. But I feel like it might be time. Got some of our art right here that we're going to be following. Okay, so we were getting into this part before we ended last time. So yeah, let's kind of keep, we might actually just save his face for later because I feel like I can get really caught up on that. So we'll just go ahead and continue with this. So we're going to go to his armor layer, make sure that that's selected. Okay, dokie. I'll go ahead and just get a zoom in real quick. Okay. So he's basically got like a skull here for his chest plate. So this looks a little something like, this is where his belt's at. He's gonna have some kind of skin right here. So I'll probably start this like so. He's kind of got some fangs here. And this is the line we're gonna be following here, where his body is, but this is gonna be the other fang. Okay. And then it kind of has like a little bit of this line here. Comes around. Right now I'm kind of following this line here. Comes around, and then it's actually got this nice little like armor piece right here. So we'll make sure to try to capture that. Comes around. This is here. Kind of comes down to a point. And this is like the primary part of his chest plate. Anyway. He's got a little bit of a section here, but essentially it's going to be kind of even start drawing this out a little bit more. And this isn't our hardline layer yet, but this is getting really close to it. So here what we could see is it's kind of got this part here. This is going to be this little square that we see. This is kind of comes out to a point. So you can kind of just make that like so. Okay, and then kind of comes down. This is going to be the skull part. So even just drawing this, we can kind of see where we need to make the lids. This probably needs to come down a little bit further. So this might be a little tricky here. So this is where we might actually start this out. Now with this, since his body's kind of turned, it's not going to be like so symmetrical each side. But what we can start doing is kind of just drawing. Dang, why is it so empty on here on a Tuesday? What's up, Crew 30? Good to see you, man. Yeah, just chilling, dude. Just chilling. We'll be here regardless. Yeah. No big. It's a holiday season, you know? People doing that last minute shopping. I get it. I get it. Here, we'll kind of just make sure that we get kind of the... This is a skull, right? So we gotta kind of meet the nostrils here. And this is not... Gotta probably make it a little bit more menacing. This looks like he's actually a little bit more sad than kind of fill that in a little bit. Thanks for kicking it though, man. So we actually probably want to go ahead and just erase this line for right now, because we'll want to kind of remake this a little bit more. Because the skull kind of comes out a little bit more, so... And let's see. If this is that, this will kind of be where his lips come out a little bit. Here. Gotta come up around a little bit more. And things might not be exactly to scale, but as long as in the end it kind of turns out looking somewhat Skarbrandy, we'll be happy. This guy's just got a lot going on. Here, his armor kind of comes up. We haven't really even drawn his beard yet, but we'll just go ahead and draw his armor on first, and then work towards his beard. First part of his chest plate here. And kind of come up like so. But yeah, this guy's armor is pretty intricate, so little difficult to capture it. Here he's kind of got some... We'll just draw some initial lines, just to kind of say we did. How you doing though, Gru30? How you living? This kind of has some... And again, we're just kind of putting these soft lines down, because we'll come back here and kind of finish this up a little bit when we get to that point. But this way we get just a little bit of his armor on. And here, I mean, it's even got just these blank pieces that come out like this. These, you know, it's got like this one, and this one actually comes out from the skull area. So we can kind of just do like that. And again, we're not going to be able to, it's not going to be like one-to-one probably, just because of the nature of this guy and because of my talent. Surviving as usual, just got back into R6 Siege after a 2-year hiatus. What kind of a game is that? Sounds interesting. And I don't know if I'll get to the hard lines tonight, but at least we'll do some damage here on the chest plate. Try to get all his armor set up here. We can then basically do this. This can kind of be like the outer edge of his armor. It can kind of come up from here. And we'll do some of these little rivets. Tell you what, these rivets really make it all come together once we get into the coloring portion of this. And these actually kind of come up and they stop here. Another rivet. So right now what I'm looking at is this part here. And then this turns into one of these pieces. And then another rivet up here, which will essentially be something like this. More squared out. Okay, and then we kind of just repeat the process on this side. However, on this side, we won't see too much of this because of the angle that he's turned. So everything's going to be a little bit more harder to see on this side. Something like that. Something like that. Okay, this is just going to be where his, you know, we'll probably get in here when we know where his abs are, but this is going to be good to end him here. This will be where his torso is at, so his hips. On release 7 years ago, it was realistic tactical first-person shooter. Now it's just a tactical shooter, as everything is brighter and more user-friendly. Oh, okay. Dang. Throwback. Some of those old games, man. They still got it. They still got it. They still hold up. I like that. That's cool. Almost like a Rainbow Six or something like that. Actually, kind of make his come in a little bit more like that. Just to kind of draw some distinction around where his belt loops around. Get a little bit more. Okay. Okay, so now this is going to be his armor. This is kind of good here. I'll probably actually want to, well, thing is, he's kind of lifting his arm up. So we got to make it a little bit, different. Speaking of arms, let's go ahead and complete this one here. So I think we might have a little concept art here. We can actually go ahead and just delete this layer. Let's see what we got here though. So on one arm he has kind of this shoulder pad. On the other arm he doesn't. So we'll go ahead and kind of just get that rock in here. So this arm will be the non-shoulder pad arm. Get back to our armor layer. From this, we'll go ahead and we'll just kind of make this. It's a chance to kind of just make him all swole. This is where his kind of his bicep line is going to be here. Coming off of this. Then he does have these bands, but we've kind of already drawn those in. But you can see how they do kind of overlap because it's just got a massive bicep here. This one's kind of his first band here. Then this is his kind of his top armor here, and then he's got another band here to kind of hold that in place. So this is looking good for his armor on this side, and then his hand is going to be up over here. Gonna kind of have his knuckle area where he's kind of holding on to this thing. These are then where his fingers clasp and grab onto it. So that's good there. Okay, so here what we can do is, since this is going to be where we stop off at his hip, we can then kind of complete this. But we'll have this will really come into play later on. But this section here is actually going to be something that's like will be not see-through, but we'll have a little air gap there just so that we can kind of see the background behind it. But that will really help. Kind of make that arm pop a little bit more. It's referred to as R6, but yeah. Oh, Rainbow Six. Nice, dude. Yeah, that's cool. All right, here. Kind of bring up. So now this is going to be, say, like, you know, this is where his chest would be. So his pec would come up like that. Kind of come out like this. And then where his arm would be here. And then it would kind of come down like that. But this is essentially where that would be. Okay, this is where he's got this like fat. He's got this big old trap coming out here. So that's where that will start. And then this is kind of where this trap would be on this side. However, he does have this armor piece here, so let's go ahead and get into that. Now, it's going to be a little bit interesting to draw, and I think what I might actually do is start out with his arm here. Because what we could do is, starting out with his arm, we'll then be able to make his elbow, kind of his tricep area. This is going to be his bi. And then, essentially, this guy's leg's going to cover this up anyway. But he's going to be kind of holding onto this cat like this. So we can kind of just put... Hey, what's up, Nagani? What is up? What is up? Doing it. These fingers we'll kind of figure out a little bit later on, but this is kind of a good place to get started. Again, this isn't the hard ink layer yet, so we can kind of just not get too caught up. Make sure you count. He's got all his fingers and toes. It's kind of where his thumb will be here. Like that. This guy's legs are going to be in the way, so we will kind of leave this. Probably have another layer just specifically for this cat. But here what we could start doing is... Nagani, first day of vacation for you, huh? Or what? No, you were done Sunday. So you're probably chilling, soaking it in. Okay, here, so let's go ahead and kind of draw this skull part. So again, he's got another little like skull face here. However, with this one, it's gonna look a little interesting just considering this angle. So I'm kind of something's telling me it kind of goes like this. This will be the horn of it. I'll kind of come down like this. Let's see here. So he's actually got two skulls, right? He's got this one here, the plate, and then he's got like this little section here. So let's get that in there. So here will be the... And he's got it actually on both sides. You can see just above this horn, he's got kind of the same little clasp, let's call it. Oh, Nagani, I was just saying that you're like on day one of vacation, but I think you ended your essay on Sunday, right? Turned it into Monday, maybe? I'll just draw this like so. It's looking a little funky, but we'll get back to this. Yeah, even like that's a little bit better. I'm just chilling. Here, we'll kind of just bring this around. And we're covering this horn on purpose here because we're going to go back over and kind of just redraw this horn out once we get to there. Hello, yeah, school finished Sunday for me, but I still have a full-time job. Thankfully, I get a week off starting Friday. Praise be. Okay, this kind of goes up like this. Right now, I'm kind of drawing this area, starting with this kind of distinctive. I always try to start with like the distinctive marks. And it kind of comes down like that. This kind of comes down like that. Kind of comes down like here. Same thing on this side. And with this, we'll probably end up maybe even just kind of, this might even just overlap this part of the armor. Which, we'll see if this makes sense. This foreshortening though, it's kind of difficult to see where everything kind of lands. But this looks like it's almost like a head a little bit. And even just make this a little bit smaller. That'll be fun. And this kind of class will come in a little bit more into play when we get there. But then what we can do is kind of just make this. This kind of comes up like that to complete the skull. They'll kind of bring his arm like so. Essentially, so we might even want to make this a little bit less, because this is where his bicep would be, and then this is actually where his arm would be. So this is kind of actually his arm. This is where his bicep would be. So again, making this elbow come out, come up, or something like that. What we can do is kind of even draw his armor here he's going to have, and then let's see, he does have some looks like his armor here. So he's got this plate that comes down. Let's see if he is, that will be kind of like a band. That's where it gets kind of interesting. Let's go ahead and erase this. This will be his forearm. So let's see. This is going to be maybe something like, kind of probably just make this dark band like here. This will really help make his arm pop. That'll be there, and then we can do, kind of comes like right up under this part actually. We might need to finagle this a little bit, but we can start with this. Okay. Don't really want to get stuck on any particular area right now, just because we're still kind of doing the last of the sketch line. Here, this will be kind of where his pec will be. Then what we can have is kind of his lat coming out like this. Because he's buff. Really just trying to get these lines down. Cool. And then what we can do always is go ahead and get a zoom out, and this might just show us where we're making our mistakes and where we need to clean up a little bit more. Granted, we know that we're kind of just speeding through this, so some of this is definitely going to need to get reworked. But what we could do is just kind of get our zoom out. So even just looking at this, you can kind of see this kind of comes out a little bit too far. This can kind of come out a little bit more like so, up. Just use this as a time to really remake these lines. I think what I want to do as well is just kind of erase this part. Actually kind of make it, probably make this line go like so. So this will be kind of where his armor is. This will be his elbow. This will kind of then be his tricep. This will be his bicep here. But with this kind of foreshortened, it might even, this is just the difficult part, is getting this perspective right. Like, his arm's supposed to be a little bit more in front of the camera. So we got to see like which, if he's holding this guy, like how he's kind of grabbing him like that. So it's going to come down and then kind of in a little bit more, like even depending if he's holding him like this versus this. So this might take a little work, a little massaging, but we'll get there. We'll get there. Okay. And I think with that might be a good time to actually start moving on to his face. Kind of get into that a little bit tonight. So we'll want to keep that one. We'll delete that. All right, Mr. Skarbrand. This is probably one of the more difficult parts of this drawing, is really getting his face right. That really makes or breaks him. I'm not too thrilled on where we're at currently with it, but that's why we're still in the sketch layer. So he's definitely got kind of like a really pronounced nose. We just gotta make him look like a demon, you know? So I'm just going to kind of redraw this. And it actually does look a little bit like... It's just kind of almost like a bat or something. This kind of comes down like so. He's got... Just wanted to not make this a pig nose though, but shoot, we'll see how it turns out. Okay, he's got... Kind of comes up like this. Real mad, this guy. So this is kind of... He comes up, he's got like some little... notches. Again, once we get into like the ink layer, all this stuff will really start to pop. This is kind of where we could start his horn. And this guy's got just horns for days. So he's got outside of this line that we're just doing here, it then comes down. So let's see, we'll have this part that comes down. And then this kind of turns into his jawline. But yeah, this is where it gets a little fun here. A little fun. Okay. Actually, he's got a pretty cool little earring too that I like. Didn't notice that when I was playing him until I zoomed in. And from here, this is gonna actually be his ear. So kind of make his ear like so. Then from here we can kind of just put a little placeholder for this earring. These little small details, you know, they'll really make a difference at the end. So let's kind of draw this earring here. Okay. Now, so he is kind of got this little crater. Then he's just kind of got... Gotta be really... Something like that. Something like that. Something like that. Okay. So now that we have this, we can kind of actually start seeing where we're falling short on this other side. So I think what I might do actually is, let's see what layer this is. Might be... See, I was kind of getting my layers messed up. 13. Okay. So actually go ahead and we'll take 13 and we'll just drop this opacity. We can somewhat use it as a reference line, but I think even now with what we're doing, we might even just axe this and really just kind of use these lines to focus in a little bit more on what we need to be drawing. So here, he's got kind of a wide face. So this is a little, oh, see, always making sure you're on the right layer. So if this is his nose, we can kind of repeat the process on this end. So here what we'll do. Okay. That's that line. Then he's kind of got this part that comes around. And at this point, I can kind of use just like the natural symmetry of his face here to really just kind of freestyle this a little bit more, freehand this a little bit more. We know that he's going to have kind of a, comes in like this, he mad. From here, this will kind of go, kind of just put some little placeholders here. He's got these little like spots. Then this kind of turns into where the peak of his hair is at too. So this kind of be where we start this line here. For this, we can kind of go ahead and just, you know, get started a little bit on here. We won't focus too much on this section tonight, but it's at least good to get some initial lines down. And this hair kind of comes back. And even though I do have these sketch lines, depending on how I'm drawing right now, you know, we'll see if it still makes sense to include. So here's what we could do. He does have somewhat of a forehead, somewhat, but it more so is just like these horns. So we'll go ahead and kind of just make this like so. So I found out that Skarbrand was cast out. He was thrown off some tower, and he fell to Earth, or whatever Warhammer land is. And that's why he's all jacked up with like broken horns and everything, because he like when he impacted the ground. The more you know. Okay, so it's kind of cool. He's got these like, this will really make this too, is this detail on his horns. How it even just comes down like this a little bit more. Just these difference in lines really just kind of draws the perspective, or just draws like the eye in to it. Just kind of these little sections. Really makes it pop. Cool. And this might not be where we have the final lines, but this is a good start. So here, what we could do, kind of keep this, you know, keep this mad eyebrow here. Here we can kind of just make this a little bit there. Kind of feels like we need to kind of even have like a little bit more of his cheek, a little bit more. He's kind of snarling a little bit, so it should be kind of up a little bit. And here with the eye. Kind of just want him to be like looking at this guy. So this seems a little tight. So what I might do actually is I'll take this, and I think what I'll do is I'll kind of grab this. I do like how this eye looks. I just don't know if it needs to be a little bit further. He just looks like he's a little bit wide there, right? So maybe we just kind of take this. Oops. And maybe actually what we could do, is kind of come up here a little bit more, because there's definitely going to be some space between. Even get closer in here. So usually there's like, you do kind of one circle, another circle, and then like another circle. But even with this, like, this might just have to come out a little bit more when we do the coloring. Because like, while this looks like, you know, this isn't going to be the white of his eye. This is actually just going to be a darker red, because he's got like these beady eyes. So this actually might turn out looking just fine. Okay. All right, so now what we can do is kind of move on to these lines here, as mentioned. So this kind of will come up like that. And I know that his line is, even though he's kind of jacked up here on the side, I think that's because that's where he fell. I could still kind of get a good understanding of like where some of these lines should go. So this kind of comes out like so. He does kind of have like a little beak here. This can kind of come up like that. Okay, then he does have. So you see, like before, his mouth was even coming up there, but now we're making it a little bit. Hey, Zam Tama, what's up? Thailand, right? Or the Philippines or something? I said you're tuning in from. Thanks for hanging out. Okay, here. Similarly, go ahead and kind of just do this. Then this is actually going to be a broken one. So probably get a little bit closer to the monitor, come up like so. This is broken like this. And here we can do those similar type of lines. And one thing we want to make sure is that we don't have like, you know, this is actually a second part, or like we don't want this line to be like connected here. It's just going to make it look funny. So I want to put a little bit of space in between this. Nice. Thanks, Amtama. Yeah, we're doing Skarbrand tonight. And I feel like even just looking at this now, I could tell that this probably needs to go out a little bit further. But these horns do kind of come up pretty straight. I think maybe when I draw these side ones in, it should come out a little bit better. Because even this one's busted up here. So let's go ahead and do that. So let's see here. So one thing we can do is we see that Vietnam. Yeah. I remember. Good to see you, bud. Can kind of come out like this. He's kind of got this jaw that comes out. It kind of comes down like this. This part kind of has like little notches here as well too. And then, yeah, so I mean like it kind of comes out like this and comes in. Yep. Good to see you again, man. I remember you. Thanks for tuning in. Welcome back. Yep, so I do some art streams, I do some gameplay and some co-ops, but thanks for tuning in. Here what we'll do is now we can kind of start getting this section in. And one thing, we'll want to, one sec. Excuse me. One thing we'll want to do to really show that this horn is broken, see how this line kind of comes down like so. It's a really distinctive line. So what we'll want to do is kind of bring this down here, and then it kind of comes in like this, and then kind of comes out like so. And we might end up kind of redrawing these when we get into the ink layer, but at least this way we could show that there's kind of a broken horn like this, and then this kind of comes out like this. So it kind of looks like it's hollowed out a little bit. Here what we can do is this. Kind of comes up like so. And even these lines here, they kind of do change to kind of create this like curve. So I'm not going to try to crush these right now, but just to keep note that there is going to be some distinction, like some of these, for example, they kind of come out like this. Thanks, Tama. I'm sure that means this is an amazing art. Okay, so let's kind of wrap this up here. And we don't have to feel the need to finish this part right now. Hey, thanks, Tama. New sub. Whoop whoop. I think you might be number 300, bro. Are you? Or what am I at? 390. 390. 290. Getting too ahead of myself. Thanks for the sub, man. Appreciate it. Okay. Now I'm all sorts of inspired. So here's kind of the horn there. What we can then do. See, like, what is this? Like, he's got even something else. It's like, here's his horn here, but then he's got like another one or something. This guy's got horns all over the place. Let's see what else we got here. Man, I forgot we totally have his wings to do too. So his wings burned up on re-entry, and that's why he can't fly. Oh yeah, so let's check this out. So he does have, if we look at this one, he does kind of like, geez, this guy is just all horns. So it's actually like, this is all connected. So that's really good to know as far as reference goes. Because then I can kind of come back in here. And then I could see that this is actually all connected here. So, this is actually like all connected. And so he's kind of got one here too. So this kind of be this. And then what we'll do is kind of keep this here. This one's broken, but this one then curves around. And actually, yeah, this would be the right side. This would be the correct side. So this one kind of cool learning the lore. Do you know JoJo anime? I don't. Yeah, Nagani, there's like interesting. I was just like kind of checking out the lore of it, and like, he was like the top bloodthirster, and then I'm probably gonna get some of this wrong, but he was like the top bloodthirster. And then some of the other like chaos gods like whispered in it, like was just like, "Yo, man, like you're better than Korn. Like you're better than him." And so he kind of got like a little pissed off. He's like, "I am better than him," and so he tried to take Korn out, and Korn like blocked the attack and was like, "What the hell are you doing, bro?" And then basically took him up to this high tower and like chuck him off. When you have free time, you could try to draw about the JoJo if you want. I'll take a look at that. I'll take a look. Always into to seeing what else is out there. Okay, so for here, I know that we did work on this section to get this helm, this armor set up, and that was fine to do because basically what we're gonna do here is now, let's see here actually. So this will, okay, so we're gonna kind of just try to, if this comes out like this will probably come out and then like curve. So we're just gonna try to YOLO this real quick. Okay. So I actually don't know if I should kind of make it to where, I'm trying to see. I almost feel like it does kind of have to kind of come around like, all right, so we're just gonna kind of do this. Oops, let's do this. One time. Oof, maybe something like that. So what I'm actually gonna do here is I'm gonna create a new layer. This is just kind of an important part, and then this way I can just isolate this and I don't have to worry about erasing any of this. So I can kind of just keep trying this until I get it right. So let's see here. Probably spend the rest of the night on this part. Something like that. I mean, we'll kind of want it to come down a little bit more. And see this, it does kind of like curl up, which is a little bit difficult with this perspective. Maybe something like that though. So the reason why we put it on this new layer is so that I can kind of just take this out as necessary. And then I can actually like move this and manipulate it as needed. So one thing though that I know I want to keep is this earring actually. So for that, I'll actually want to maybe bring this up a little bit more. I don't know. We won't get too caught up on this right now though. But what we can do is kind of zoom out a little bit. And even looking at this, we can kind of see a little bit more of where perhaps this line could go. Another reason that we isolate this is so that we can actually take this layer. We could actually take this layer. We can actually take this layer, select this horn, and then we can kind of move it actually. So we could see, okay, does it need to be here? Do we even need to make it bigger? Smaller? Do we need to kind of turn it a little bit more like so? This is part of the benefits of like digital art is that you can kind of manipulate your lines a little bit more. So actually maybe something like that. And we'll kind of just leave that for now. So sweet. We'll go ahead and just jump back onto the armor layer. We'll just compress Control D. What we could then do is this will take up actually a little bit of this. So we'll kind of actually just get in here. And the reason we draw this armor first and then this part is just so that you know, we could see where we need to be. So from here, what we'll go ahead and do is just get back into this armors layer, and then we can kind of just draw these bands here. Something like that. Okay. And I think where I really want to kind of just leave off tonight with, we got about 13 minutes left on the draw stream, is let's go ahead and kind of work on his mouth to round this out. Okay. So I kind of want him like yelling a little bit. I lost track of my mouse. One sec. Where are we at? Here we are. Okay, I found you. Okay. So we got this area. We kind of have a good idea of where his armor is, kind of his open mouth is here. So one thing that's neat too is he does have these little horns sticking out. And he's also got this whole goatee that we haven't even really messed with yet. So let's see here. This can kind of be like so. This. He's kind of got these big ass teeth too. And they aren't like needle sharp fangs. These ones here are actually kind of... okay, we're gonna move on from that part for a second. This will be this. This can then kind of... let's kind of put this part down like so. Let's kind of draw this initial outline of where his mouth should be. We could fill in the teeth after. Something like that. And here what we can do is we'll start kind of filling in these teeth to cover up this. Something like that. Then he's got a pretty big incisor right here too. Let's see what else we got here. So then he's kind of got these ones that come up. It's got these little ones that come up. It's got this one that comes up. Then what we can do is actually start kind of getting ready for his goatee. So that's what really kind of makes this guy all come together. Here we can kind of see we're getting a little bit better. His face is looking a little bit long though, but I mean his mouth is open, so it does make a little bit of sense, but we will just want to be mindful of not having that be like so pronounced. Here, probably start doing this a little bit more with his, and this is another broken horn because he fell. Like that. Maybe you want to make this come out a little bit more pronounced. Kind of like so. This one can definitely come out a little bit more, and this will actually cover up. So you can see how this starts to then like put some layers on top of things to really show depth. Because then, for example, what we'll do is we'll go ahead and erase this part. And that will look really nice where, even though we drew his entire armor, is where we start kind of putting it all together. Okay, and then here, kind of turns into this. Something like so. You know, then one thing we can always do as well too is if we say, You know, if you feel like his face is getting too long, we could then kind of isolate this. Not to say we're going to do this, but this is just an example. We can kind of then pull this down a little bit. So let's like go ahead and just zoom out for a second. And even that, like, you can kind of see the difference. So you can kind of see, like, if you need to kind of, you know, he doesn't have a lot of room up there. If we're too high, he doesn't have like too much of an upper lip. So like we can drop this down even further like that. And then even make these horns come down a little bit more. So maybe something like that, actually. And what we can also do is actually take this, we can cut this, and then we can edit paste, and this will actually put it in its own layer. So now, oops, so now what I can do is with this, this is kind of triggering here. I can kind of then use this to like, kind of use my arrow keys to now kind of nudge this a little bit to get this in a good spot where I want it. And we do kind of want his face to be not so centered, kind of more like a line like he's looking. So what we could do is kind of just click that. Then even with this off, we can kind of see where we need to put this. Because he shouldn't look human, right? He should definitely look like a demon a little bit more. So I think originally like we were up like this. But we might want to just kind of play along or play around until it kind of calls to you a little bit, till it feels right. Because what we can always do is just tighten this up, put the horns in there, and call it good. Okay, and then I think another thing that we'll want to do actually is make another layer. And really, we should be renaming these layers, but alas, we're not. And that's probably, so we'll actually name this goatee. Goatee, I think is how you spell that. That's how we're spelling it tonight anyway. Then from here, what we could do, we can kind of zoom in, because this is where this is really going to bring this all together. Now, the reason I put it on a separate layer like this is so that when I can actually start drawing over, and not have to worry about the armor that we've already made. So here what we can see is that this actually does kind of come out like, and for this I can kind of just have a little bit of fun with it because it's just a goatee. Hey, what's up? How's it going? I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. You working tonight, or? This is kind of where we can kind of just get fun with his hair here. Kind of this initial goatee. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Appreciate it. Yo, we pogging. Come through, come through. What's good, Oxy? Making some progress on the Skarbrand. So from here, what we can do is now, as usual, working. Yeah, working through the night. Well, glad you can come hang out. Here, what we can do is by taking a look at this man's goatee, it's pretty massive. So the reason why we put it on another layer here is so that we can kind of just have fun with where we want this to go. And actually, at this point, I should probably zoom out to really just see where we're coming at with this thing. This way I could just kind of draw some initial lines of where I want to see this. And I think actually the cool thing about the goatee as well is that if I don't like something, like I don't really like how this piece of the armor looks, we're just going to go ahead and cover that with a goatee, boys and gals. Go ahead and cover that up. So maybe something like this. And what we can do is this is on its own layer. So we can really just kind of use this as a, you know, a scratch, like just really build this out. This isn't our hard ink layer yet, but we can at least see where we want to go with it. And with this, let's see. I think it does kind of go down I mean, he's got it kind of up right now, but I think it kind of goes down all the way to... Where's this man's goatee at? Yeah, it's pretty fat. Pretty long, so it actually goes down to like past his waistline, which is fine with me. Got your new battle station all set up? Oh, do tell, bro. You got like instantaneous load times, bro? Got those load times, dude? Dude, right in just in time for Vlad, bro? Here, I think is actually where we'll kind of... And one thing with this too is I don't want this to look so straight on, you know? Might want to kind of put a little curve to this, just so that it looks a little more action oriented. So I kind of might want to actually just kind of curve this around a little bit. And then he's got kind of like a little block here, like so. And then it kind of just ends like this. He's got a, I think I have a picture of... Oh yeah, I do. So yeah, it kind of has this like, these lines here that this goatee finally wraps around. So we can kind of leave that up right now. And just kind of start drawing those lines out. Oh, put it in our Discord? Alright, bud. I'll check that out. Summon the electric counts. And then it's kind of got this actual like little part here. So, can't really see this too much right now. But you kind of see how we'll want to shape this out a little bit more. And we'll take him to the barber and get this a little bit more shaped out. You know, something to where can kind of just curve in a little bit more. It's kind of, it's thin. Thin-ish. But at least this way, you know, we'll cover up what we need to. This will actually, we'll kind of just make these lines a little bit more predominant right here. But this will be nice. We just didn't want this line to like line up exactly with where his chainmail like skirt is or whatever. So then that way it looks nice. Cool. Okay, so here let's go ahead and start hiding some of these layers and see what we're working with. But I think this for what we got rocking for tonight. This is looking pretty decent, folks. This is looking pretty decent. I think I'll get back on the armor real quick. And we got about another minute left or so before we kind of wrap up. Oxy late as usual. Nah, just joking, bro. Let's see what we got here, though. Let's see if we got a good part of... Yeah, so just kind of just come up. As usual. There we go. So, kind of just use this, kind of just, you know, build out his... This will be the line here that will connect kind of his trapezoids. He's kind of just like hunched in. Then here, this kind of be where we just kind of wrap this up. And just for now, we'll go ahead and we'll kind of just do a little bit of that just for funsies. Dang, you right though. Make that person me then. Had to remind him. Thanks, Nagani. Always on top of it. 3 viewers, only 5 likes? What? So funny. Hit him with that Leland. Alright, folks. Well, I think this was actually a lot of good progress from where we were to where we're at now. Feeling a lot better about his face. Horns are looking pretty sick. This was a good session here. We're gonna go ahead and call it though, because we do just kind of do an hour at a time. Stay tuned. On Thursday, we're gonna be having our co-op with Oxy and I and his new battle station. We'll be playing our Call Friends Ungrim campaign, where we are getting destroyed by Vlad, but we're gonna win in the end. We're gonna win in the end. But yeah, this was a good session here. Next up, what we'll do, we're almost to the ink layer. We did a lot of progress. We got all his kind of his chest armor set up today, his arms set up, this kind of this like shoulder pad here. Getting into his face was really important too. Um, really clean that up. But yeah, we got to get this rocking. Thanks everybody for tuning in. And we also have to get on this man's wings. Forgot about the wings, which will be, you could tell how excited I am about the wings by how I rough drew them. They're gonna be quite might even take a whole session in of itself. But cool, y'all. I'll catch you next time. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you Thursday. Have a good night, everyone. Peace.